All right, ranchers, here we go. Today we're going to be working on adding mixed numbers. This comes out of our workbook, Chapter 8, Lesson 6. We started today working with using a model to find the sum. We're going to come back and solve this in just a minute. But I want to go ahead and take a minute. Let's talk a little bit about a proper fraction. And we know a proper fraction is less than 1. But then we have these other things called an improper fraction right here. And an improper fraction is greater than 1. Okay, now what does that mean exactly? Well, let's take a look. Let's come back over here at this first problem up here. And we have this right here this is a proper fraction right there, okay? Now we're going to take a minute and we're going to turn this into an improper fraction. And one way that we can do this, and I know that you've learned different ways in the past, but one way that you can do this is you can multiply 4 times 1, and then that's 4, and then you're going to add the 3. Now 4 times 1 is 4, and adding 3 brings you to 7, and so we would have 7 over 4. Now, when it comes down to these definitions that we were learning just here, that a proper fraction is less than 1. Well, when we started off here, this right here was our proper fraction, okay? But after we did this, where we multiplied the 4 times 1 plus 3, that gave us an improper fraction. And we know that an improper fraction is a fraction that is greater than 1. And we know that this is greater than 1 because when you're looking at this denominator, 1 would be 4 over 4, okay? But this is not 4 over 4. This is 7 over 4, okay? Now let me go ahead and show you the next step, because we've taken care of the 1 3/4, but now we need to figure out how to turn 2 1/8 into something that we can add. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did over here. I'm going to multiply 2 times 8. That's going to give me 16. And then we know that 16 plus 1 is 17. So I'm going to go ahead and put 17 over 8. Can't forget my plus sign right there. But we run into a problem here. We run into a big problem. This 4 is not the same, does not the same denominator as that 8 right there. And so what I need to do is I need to turn this 4 into something that can be added with an 8. And so we know that 4 times 2 is 8. And whatever we do, like we've said, whatever we do on the top, we have to do on the bottom, or whatever we do on the bottom, we have to do on the top. And so let's go ahead and let's work that out. So we know that 2 times 7 is 14. We know that 2 times 4 is 8, okay? And now we bring this down right here. And this is why it's going to be really important for you from now on to always show your work, okay? Now let's go ahead and come on over here. And we know that, gosh, I'm going to have to do some math over here. 17 plus 14 is going to be 7 plus 4 is 11. Carry the 1 up there. That comes down, so 31. So I'm going to have 30. Oops, I can do this. I'm going to have 31 over 8. Okay? Now, I know that 8 goes into 32 4 times, right? But that's not 32, that's 31. So if 8 times 4 is 32, then that means that 8 times 3 is going to be 24, okay? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to convert it down here. I'm going to keep my 8 denominator, but I'm going to divide because, as we know, all fractions are division. So if I know that I can get 8 3 times into 31, and there's going to be a bit of a remainder, and I know we learned about remainders, so I'm going to go ahead and say 8 times 3 is 24, okay? And so I'm going to go 3, and I know that 31 minus 24 is going, well, we know that 30 minus 24 is 6, but we've got that 1 right there, so that's going to be 7. And so our remainder is going to be 3. Our answer is going to be 3 7/8, okay? So what we have here, this right here, is what we call an improper fraction. Improper fraction. Oops, come back here. And this right here is just a proper fraction. Okay? And so that's that right there. All right, let me go ahead and run down and let me do a couple other samples with you. Now, a lot of you guys learned this sample right here back in the 4th grade. So I'm going to let you can work with that if you need to, still the same way. But let's go ahead and run through a couple of samples together here, okay? So, again, working with turning these into improper fractions before we can do the math with them. So again, I'm going to multiply 2 times 3, and then I'm going to add the 2 on top. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And so I'm going to put 8 over 3, okay? And I'm going to keep my equation going, and then I'm going to multiply 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1, and that's going to be 13. And that was a lovely Mrs. Russell taking our dog out because he was starting to whine. He wanted me to play with her. She wanted me to play with her. Her name is Kalua. Anyways, so now I am super close, but the problem is 3 is not the same as 6. But don't worry, we've got a solution for that, right? What does it take to get a 3 to turn into a 6? Well, I think we know that if we multiply 2 times 3, that will give us 6. And so 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 8 is 16, plus, and these guys are going to be happy-dappy. All right. Now, the 6 stays the same on the bottom, all right? We know that 16 plus 3, come over here, 16 plus 13, this is 9, that's 29. Kind of like the previous problem we did. We know that 6 goes into 30 5 times. That's a terrible looking 5, but I think you get where I'm going. So, but this is a 29 that we're dealing with, right? And so we're going to have to go one number down, and we're going to have to deal with a 4, okay? And so here we have 29 over 6, and 6 goes into 29 4 times. So we're going to put our 4 right there, okay? We're going to keep our denominator, and we know that 4 times 6 is 24, and we know that, I'll come over here, we know that 29 minus 24 is going to be 5. And so our answer is 4 5/6, okay? So again, this right here is improper, okay? And this right here is proper. All right, so this is going to be really, really helpful for you. I'm going to go ahead and let's do one more over here, okay? All right, so again, we're going to take this and we're going to say, okay, well, gosh, 12. We have unlike denominators, so we're going to go ahead and turn these into improper fractions. We're going to go 12 times 1 is 12, plus 5 is 17. So I'm going to start over here and buy myself some room. 17 over 12 plus, and then here we go again, we're going to multiply, and then we're going to add those two, and 3 times 4 is 12, plus the 3 is going to be 15, okay, over 4. Now the problem is we still can't do much here because these guys are unlike, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and convert them. So I'm going to come back down here. What do we know? What does it take to turn a 4 into a 12? Well, I happen to know that, and let me go ahead and erase this out of the way here. I happen to know that if I was to multiply times 3, okay, If I was to multiply times 3, that 3 times 4 is 12. So I'm going to come down here to a new line, 17 over 12 plus, and we know that 15 times 3, well, we know 15 and 15 is 30. You add another 15, that becomes 45, okay? And 4 times 3 is 12, okay? Now, are these guys able to be added? Heck yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to bring our 12 right here, and we're going to see if we can buy ourselves some more room down here. And I need to know, what is 45 plus 17? Well, here we go. We know that that is going to be 12, and that is going to be 6, okay? Just got to double check here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, that's right. It's getting late. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say 62 over 12. Now, we know that all fractions are really just division problems. And so I happen to know that 12 times 5 is 60, right? 12 times 5 is 60. 5 times 2, 10. Bring it up there. Oops, come back here. The 1 there's, and 5 times 1 plus that is 60, right? So I happen to know that we have right here an improper fraction, but I want to convert it back into a proper fraction, okay? So we know 12 goes into 60 5 times. And so I'm going to go ahead and write down 5, and we're going to keep this as our denominator, and our remainder is 2, okay? So 5 times 12 is 60 with a remainder of 2, and I can even simplify this a little bit more because we know that if I was to divide or pull or factor a 2 out, then I could factor a 2 out here, and I could go 2 divided by 2, and 12 divided by 2 is going to be 1 and 6. And if I really wanted to simplify this, I could go 5 and 1/6. Okay, guys. Well, that's it for me. If you have any questions, I'll be more than willing to help you out. But take a look at this video, and hopefully this helps you out. All right, bye now.